Hi, it's me, Tanisha. Uh, I just finished trying to record my last vlog. I got a minute into it and then I got interrupted. So I had to start all over because I don't have the technology to cut and paste stuff on this laptop because it's a Chromebook. Anyway, as I was mentioning before I got cut off, the joys of living at home. Anyway, I had went to Walmart earlier to run some errands and then I was trying to find um, a microphone, which I've had trouble finding. I mean, I found some online like super cheap, but the shipping costs way more, and I haven't been able to find any at the dollar store or any of that stuff. So I'm gonna try to go to Target tomorrow. I was trying to go today, but my mom wanted me to go to Walmart and look for all this stuff, and I needed to get food and stuff. So I was gonna go to both. So anyway, like I was talking to you about yesterday, I was gonna mention about my previous jobs and kind of like the inconvenience that I'm at right now. Um, what I was mentioning before I got cut off was that I was at middle school teacher's aide for 2 years for RSP and SCC. If you know what SCC is, that's special day class, and then RSP is resource specialist program or something like that. So basically, it's just kids that are a little bit slower, they need extra assistance, whatever. So I did that for 2 years. Wasn't that bad. Just walk around, make sure the kids are doing their work. That's it. Um, and then I did substitute teaching for 3 years at the middle schools. I did elementary school once. I didn't really like it. Middle school schedule is pretty simple. It's just, you work 5 or 6 periods. You have a conference period. It's the same schedule every hour. So it's like, you know what you're getting into. Whereas middle school, you have to switch the schedule like every hour and try to make sure you do everything in time. It's a lot more pressure. Anyway, I did that for 3 years, ups and downs. I would say probably 80% of the time it was pretty to the point. The kids are doing a test, they have to do a worksheet, or they're watching a movie, like no big deal. But, you definitely had certain classes that would try to test you, classes that wouldn't do their work. So, I mean, it's your job to report what's going on. So, the teacher got thorough notes, and if I needed to, I'd go to the principal and let them know what's going on, or call security if you had super problem students, which the teachers were good enough to warn you about, like, hey, watch out for this kid. So definitely has some problem classes, problem students. Um, and then, as I mentioned before, multiple times I did massage therapy for 11 years. So I've worked at like Massage Envy in different places. So if I wasn't working with kids, I was doing massage. So just either or. The past, let me see, I quit Massage Envy 2012, the end of 2012. So 5 years ago now, I now do both. So I work independently here and there. I might do a few a month. Sometimes I might only do a few a year, depending on the year. On the past couple years, I've probably done at least a few a month. The past couple years, because I have a steady regular. But if I was on my own or whatever, maybe like a few a year, if that. But it's an extra couple $100, extra income coming in. Um, so yeah, um, I decided to quit subbing last year because I just needed a set schedule. While I was subbing, I was in school for my teacher credential from the middle of 2014 to the middle of 2015. I did the classes and my master's class, but I'm on hold right now because the only thing I have to do left is my internship, where I would be teaching for 3 months. But the problem is, again, can't afford it. It's $300 for the test. So with student loans, that's going up. My old car, I have to keep fixing. It's hard to afford $300 for a test, especially a hard test. I'm trying to be a history teacher, so it's hard to, yeah, it's a hard test. I've taken it twice already. Yeah, some people have to take it 4, 5, 6 times to pass it, so it's not simple at all. So I probably should have been teaching since like 2016, so now almost 2 years now. I should have been teaching, but life happens. So anyway, the middle of 2016, I decided to quit and go back to after school program. I very briefly have done after school program. Was it summer of 2015? I did after school program for the summer and I liked it. So I was like, you know what, let me go back to that and have a set schedule. So anyway, yeah, I found an opening for that and applied, but then I had massive car issues the end of 2016. So the end of 2016, I didn't work. I had full-time school online. I was getting a project management certificate. So basically, I was living off of financial aid. Yeah, crazy. So the beginning of 2017, I finally was hired for it, but they for after school program, you have elementary and you have middle school. Elementary is more hours because they get out like an hour earlier, so it's more like 1 to 6 or 2 to 6. Middle school is only like 2.5, 3 hours because they get out like at 3. So I wanted to do elementary because there's more hours, more money, but they got all middle school happy because most of my experience is middle school. So they hired me for the middle school, and I was making like next to nothing. And also, the school they brought me to was like the worst middle school in the district. So after a few weeks, I was over it. I found they had openings again for instructional assistant, which again I had done for 2 years. So I was trying to do it for the middle schools, but they only had an opening for elementary, which I was okay with. And did the whole process, and then found out I was going to be put into a kindergarten class. Well, TK, I didn't know what TK was, but it's transitional kindergarten. So it's going to be SEC transitional kindergarten. So I thought, oh, okay, kids who need more assistance with their work, whatever, that's fine. Excuse me. So, and here's where the problem starts. I applied back in February, did the testing in March, did the interview in April, and then finally got hired for May. So I started May 8th. Yeah, around there. There was only 3 weeks left in the school year, which I was annoyed by because we were told we were going to start in April. So I already missed like a month's pay, but whatever. And first day, I got put one-on-one with a student who was physically and verbally abusive. So within 5 minutes, I got hit, kicked, and spit at. And I was like, wait, what? And I'm being looked at like, okay, she's not handling this because I was trying to. They were like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, here, you're with a student who hits, kicks, and spits. Good luck. And I'm like, what? They said, yeah, we have kids here who have like behavioral issues. I'm like, oh, I wasn't told any of this, which makes it look like it's tricking the aides because you're supposed to let us know if we're going to be in a situation with students who are going to be physically abusive. So I got put one-on-one with him, and I had assistance from a behavioral specialist, and it was just frustrating because you could see the rest of the staff kind of like whispering and like when they see I couldn't handle it, and it was frustrating because I guess they were just expecting that I knew what I was getting into, and that's an unfair situation to put me into. So that was the last 3 weeks of the school year. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens this next school year. And the first 2 weeks it was just hectic. Like, everyone's going through the same thing. Getting used to these kids, their personalities, them throwing tantrums. It's like, I don't have kids. I've never been around kids like this. I'm used to like middle school attitudes, like, oh, I can do whatever I want. Oh, I know everything. Not kids throwing tantrums, throwing themselves on the ground, hitting, kicking, spitting at staff because they don't get what they want. Like kids on medications. I still don't know what some of the medications the kids are on, but when they're off, they're beyond. So the first 2 weeks were very hectic. I was thinking about transferring because I was just super frustrated, and it was tense with me and the teacher. Like she would snap at me a few times because I didn't know what I was doing. So finally things had calmed down because I actually got sick, which I was actually happy about. And when I came back, she understood that she needed me. So she was a lot nicer and things calmed down. But I just had my evaluation in November, and it was super frustrating because on my evaluation said, oh, she needs extra training in special ed. And I told the principal, I said, why was I expected to know what to do? I said, I wasn't told anything. I was given no advance warning about the kids I'd be dealing with. And they said, well, didn't you say you worked with SCC before? I said, yeah, in middle school. The kids didn't have behavioral issues. They weren't throwing tantrums and hitting us. And she was, oh, so everyone just blah, 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 expected me to know what I was getting into. That's a situation that you need to warn people. I said, why was there not training? They said, we don't offer training before. I said, so it says on here that I need training. Where does your training come from? And they said, basically, it's training as you go. So you're throwing regular aides, even some of the sub aides that we had, they were thrown in. They were like deer in headlights. Like, whoa! They saw us what some of our students do. They're like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? I mean, like I said, to be fair, and the principal said this. The teacher didn't even know what she was supposed to do because she was thrown in a test situation. Also, in the other aides, we all had no experience in it, but I just felt like I was being treated like I was the one with the least experience in it. I mean, and I'm not new working with kids. That's what got under my skin too. Like sometimes I got talked to like I've never worked with kids before, and I have. So, yeah, and we were supposed to have people come in and train us at the beginning of the school year, and then they disappeared. Like we had a few people observe us, therapists, behavioral specialists, and oh yeah, we're gonna come in and train you. They disappeared. And I'm like, okay, so where is all this training supposed to come from? And she said, special ed's a mess right now, and we're going to, try to see about getting you guys some training. So again, why is it on here say I need training when there is anything offered? And basically, it was just assumed that I knew what was going on. And she said, well, to be fair, you have some extreme cases in your class, so your class isn't like the normal. And she goes, everyone, including the teacher, this is new to them. So everyone's a little bit tense, everyone's trying to figure it out together, which did make me feel better, but at the same time, it's like, I felt like I got tricked into the job because at the district I work for, they had 50 openings. 50, 0, 50 openings. So I felt like they would have been like, oh, well, we're not going to tell them what kind of kids they're going to be dealing with. Because they might say no. Because if I was told that, I would have said no, thank you. I'm not trying to get abused. Because to be blunt, we get pretty much abused every day. I've come home with broken nails, with cut lips, with bruises, with sore muscles. And this goes back to me doing massage. I've had to cancel a few massages because of how sore I was. And I also had a severely pulled shoulder from one of the students yanking it. So I lost income from doing massage because of that job. And we dread going to work. We dread going to work because we've had students get injured under our watch. We've gotten injured. Our teacher, she was pregnant. We had to watch out for her safety. Not a fair situation because we have to worry about multiple things throughout the day. And even though my job's 8:15 to noon, it's nonstop as soon as I walk in. It's like crazy nonstop as soon as I walk in. So, and that's the other thing too, is like I mentioned before, I know nothing about these kids' conditions. I don't know what medications they're on. I've been told nothing. I'm just expected, okay, figure it out. When they're having a tantrum, okay, figure it out. And I'm not saying like every day it's like awful, but every day we have at least one student. Sometimes we might have half the class out of the 10 kids acting up. And at the beginning of the school year, we didn't have enough help. We only had like 4 of us. 4 for 10 kids is not enough. We need about 5 or 6, which we have about that now, so that's fine. But yeah, it's just frustrating. That's why I keep saying I can't leave. I can't because they don't have enough help, and our teacher just went on maternity leave. So even the principal during my evaluation said, we can't leave. We need everyone here. So it's an unfair situation because I have this huge VIP kid opportunity where I potentially want to do this full time from home or have an afternoon aid job like maybe at 10:30, 11 or noon. So I could do like 2 to 6 in the morning and then go to an aid job just to have some extra income. But now I'm put in a situation where I'm stuck. So, I mean, I know I'm there for a reason. I'm taking in the experience big time. Um, it's a huge thing to put me into, and just all the things I'm learning, all the experience I'm getting. I mean, that's gonna look really good on my resume. Like whenever I apply to be a teacher or whatever, they would be like, "Oh wow, she worked with special ed kids. Okay, she's working with middle school kids. Okay, she's good." Like I can handle any situation now, pretty much, because when you're dealing with kids hitting you and spitting at you and slapping your face, I think you can handle anything. So, yeah, this is running really long. So that's my venting about my job, and I can't leave. But I'm there. I'm there for the school year. They need me, which makes me feel good. So, um, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, that's it. Nothing else. Oh yeah, tonight I'm gonna see what happens with the VIP kid booking at 8. I opened up Wednesday through Saturday in the evenings. I'll see what happens with that. And if nothing happens, then whatever. I'll see what happens the next week. I'm not gonna stress out about it. So that's it. Bye. Have a good day.